Hi everyone, Raphael Harry here, and you're listening to White Label American, a podcast where we hear stories from an immigrant or two, sometimes more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of White Label American. Thank you all who've been supporting us. We appreciate the 5 stars and the reviews that we've been getting on iTunes and Stitcher and everywhere. We thank you to all the new listeners who've been joining us. This is your first time for joining us, and we appreciate our people out there in these trying times, and we appreciate those of you who are also out on the streets, not just only the frontliners who are, helping us during this time of COVID-19, but also those of you who, work in hospitals, but also those of you who are out on the streets, making sure that voices are heard about Black Lives Matter, because it's long overdue. So keep doing the right thing and keep sending the right message out there, because I stand with that, and it's something that I've always stood with. And it's also Pride Month too, so my voice also belongs to that. And shout out to my LGBTQ community. So without much further ado, I welcome today's guest, Uzoma Nwachukwu, who I've known since when? 2000 and well, it's been a long time. I think literally.
Yes.
Did I know you before I came to the United States or right after I came to the United States? Either one of them. I can't recall. But
I think we know in Nigeria we had close friends together,
yeah,
and then when you came, and then we connected.
yeah,
David Okumba, all those folks. Yes.
yeah. So I've known Uzoma for a while, and he's one of the first people in the United States to buy me Guinness, Nigerian Guinness. So if you don't know, you have to go look into that. There's Nigerian Guinness and there's other Guinness. So there's a difference. So there's a lot about this man who's an interesting individual. He's into a whole lot of fields. He's worked in so many environments. He's been he's a man of more than one cap. He's been in healthcare. He's been in cyber security. He's been in law. He's transportation. What is it again?
Oil and gas.
Oil and gas, yes. And there's also politics too. So he's a man of many feathers. Right? Is that the right way to say it?
Yes, sir. A man of many caps, and
Many
many
caps.
feathers. Yes.
Yeah. So, but today we shall be focusing on two caps. We'll put it that way. Out of the many caps that he has won, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We shall begin with his with the genesis of because everybody has a beginning. So we shall start there and find out about what makes Uzoma thick and how he came to be who he is today. So welcome on the show, Uzoma. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Raf. I'm doing awesome. I'm doing great.
Fantastic. So where were you born?
I was born in Nigeria, in Imo State, Nigeria.
Imo State. Well, what city there?
I was born in Owerri, in a suburb of Owerri called Emekuku. They had a missionary hospital there run by people from both England and the Europeans. They ran that hospital and back in the days. So that's where it was one of the A-class hospitals in that area. So that's where I was born.
Is it still an A-class hospital now?
Well, right now, the Nigerian society is not improving as opposed to other nations who were where they were in the 70s, and Nigeria has gone backwards rather than going forward. So to answer your question, no, it's not an A-class hospital anymore.
What's the name of that hospital called?
It's called Holy Rosary, Emekuku.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to see if I'd heard of the hospital before. No, I'm not familiar with it. Um, so during your time in Owerri, did you spend a lot of time in Owerri?
Yes, yes, I
Okay,
grew up in
you
Owerri.
grew
I,
up there.
I spent all my childhood and part of my adulthood in Owerri before migrating to other parts of Nigeria, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and then Lagos. So I didn't really stay in Lagos, but I stayed in Abuja and I stayed in Port Harcourt
Okay,
before coming over to America. Yes.
all right. So, what's your favorite childhood memory?
Wow, my favorite childhood memory. Building I have always been loved building stuff. So, me venturing into engineering later on in life was just a combination or coming together of all those thoughts. I built, I know I built a transmitter that could access low level FM and AM frequencies. But the one childhood memory that would I say is a favorite, but I say it always comes to my mind is when a friend of mine they live, back home we live in apartment buildings, and the apartment buildings are two levels.
Yes.
So you live on the ground, and then there's a level on top of you, then there's a level on top of that, so three levels. So, and each of these apartment buildings has six flats. So from the ground to the top on one side is three, on the other side is three. And what separates them is this perforated design blocks that people can see through where the stairs are.
Oh,
So
yes, yes.
yeah,
I
so
remember.
a friend of mine, his dad will always, spank him whenever he does something bad. And this day, he locked the door. They had this kind of locked door that when you lock it, it locks, and you can't get in unless you have the keys. So he left the keys were in there. He was crying. Man, that guy cried. Because they thought of how the spanking that was coming was just giving him the willies. So, so I did. So they lived on top. They lived all the way on top of the on our side because
Yeah.
we lived on the ground floor. They lived on the third floor. So I went. We were able to get to the other person that lived, which is their neighbor on the third floor, and I climbed out over the balcony, climbed through, walked through those perforated blocks, which back in the days were not built to be strong. So
Yes.
I could have put my hand in one of them, and I could have fallen off from there, and that would have been my end.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
but with God's grace,
we were
I
Spider
climbed.
Man back then too.
Yeah, I climbed from that side, and this is when I was literally less than 11 years old. I was just very young, about 11 years old. Let me just put it that way. At least I could remember this because every time I thought about it, I'm like, what if something wrong happened? What would have I would have been crippled if I'm alive till today, or I would have been dead. But I climbed over from there to his house, opened the door, and Lord, that guy was so glad. He shared his food for the next 1 week with me. Anytime his food is ready, he will come and call me and say, "Hey, we have this food to eat." He was so, I'm
Oh,
telling you. So that, I remember it every day. I
oh,
remember it
man.
not so much in a favorite way, but it always, like, comes to me with, what if something bad happened that day? So, but I mean, that's one I favorite time that I remembered. At least I saved my friend from being spanked mercilessly, because they would have involved breaking down the door, repairing that door, and oh my god, his dad would have been so mad at him. So
Well, when we were much younger, I don't think we put in much thought into
anything,
risks.
anything,
Yeah, we
yes,
didn't know
risk,
the word
yes,
risk.
exactly, exactly,
So yeah, if it was, just do it.
exactly,
It was the Nike motto, just do it. Even though we didn't know what Nike was, because Adidas and Puma or Reebok was what existed for us. But just do it. You just did it.
Exactly.
if you had the feeling that you could do it, you just did it, and
Yes.
you did
Yeah,
it.
that was
So
the idea just came in and we just took
yeah,
it, and I
I mean,
knew that was
because
the only
by
way.
the time you got to 18, even 20, I mean, climbing the same blocks, by then you started feeling, oh, this block shifts. Because now that you started telling me about the blocks, I started thinking back, and I remembered, oh, wait, I have memories of pushing the same blocks, and then oh, it shifted, and because I remember one of my cousin hiding stuff in those blocks too, and I was like, that's when I realized, oh, those blocks, if you push them hard enough, they could shift. Some of them weren't
Exact. That's strong.
installed
Yep.
properly too. So some people did shady jobs when they were built too. So
E-
depending on the
exactly.
building, and the contractor that set it up, yeah. So I was like, wow, But as a kid, you just, oh, I'm helping my friend.
Exactly.
Just-
Exactly. Yes. That was in my mind. I was just, hey, I need to help this guy. He's crying too much. We couldn't play,
yeah.
and I just get yes.
Oh man, that's a beautiful memory. That's beautiful, and also shows that you know we it shows the genuinity in us. What
Exactly.
how pure we are as kids. That before yeah, it comes from a naivety in a way, but before we are corrupted by life and by adults, kids are just kids. They just
Correct.
want to have fun and be like, we are there for our man, we are there for our fellow boy or girl. We are there. Like, oh, they need us. Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go save that person. And but that is a great thing that you did to go save your friend. And I'm pretty sure your friend would have come to save you too with that, but they wouldn't think about it. It's not something that we had to go deliberate a great plan, but that's something that you could make a movie out of. But
Exactly.
somebody didn't have that thought like, oh, let's go make a movie about how a kid will go save another kid. It's like not something that we really thought far of back then. But yeah, it's a great story. I'm glad you shared that. Really glad. It's beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you,
So
sir.
apart from that beautiful story, what were there? And I think I'm ready. I think this ties into the next question. Were there any other experiences that you had during your teenage, younger years that also foreshadowed what you do today?
Yes. My SSCE exam. That was our first time, your first major exam. No, well, not really. Your first school living certificate is your first major exam,
Oh, wait,
which is
let
from
me
your
cut you
primary.
there. For the audience who are not aware, our SSC first major school leaving exams are like what's that over here?
GED for first
GED.
school
Yeah,
living, and then your SAT for
SAT.
your
Okay.
secondary school. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So the GED, which is the first school living, we did that, and then that was not so much. That's a pass. You only get a pass or fail. So it wasn't
Yeah.
like you have an A or B or C. So that I passed, and then I went into the high school where I now took my did my the SATs. Sorry. So let me draw that back. So it's not first school living is not equal to GED. GED is what you take after your high school, right?
Oh
That's what you
yes.
take after
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So first school is what you take in your primary school days. So it's like a test, a state test. They had you pass or you fail. And then when I took my WIEC, which is SSCE, in my I used to play a lot. I wasn't the reading type guy
Oh, same
then,
here.
but I played a lot. And also my dad was also a disciplinarian, so I made sure that one of the things that I was praying was for me not to fail that exam, for fail any of the big good exams. So on the day that we after we took the exam, and the day we got the results, and it was my time to go check my results. I checked my results. I checked it 3 times, and I was blown out of I man. People were happy with their results, but nobody expressed the kind of joy I expressed that day. I ran and I jumped on top of our principal's chair, Brother Joseph's car. Raised my leg up. I was so happy. I had 6 A's and 4 credits. So then three
Wow.
is it three either 3 or 4 credits because you already take 9 or 10 9 courses. So six
Yes, some
credits.
some schools you sometimes some depending on the students. Yeah,
The
some
area
students
of
could take 10
yes,
courses.
10.
But the minimum was 9.
9, yes.
Yeah,
I got 6 credits
but you
and
could
four,
take 10.
sorry,
Yeah.
6 A's and 4 credits. And man, I never expected it. I thought I
Wow.
was going to be having some F9s and all that stuff, like
That was
fail,
way better
fail,
than
fail,
mine.
fail.
That was
Yeah,
way better than mine.
I'm telling you. So I was so happy. In fact, that was when I realized that even though I felt I wasn't reading, my mind was actually capturing,
Mm,
and it triggered me into going into engineering, and into that. I think that was when my mind was made up to say that there was nothing I wouldn't be able to achieve if I put my mind to it, and I wasn't such a bad product after all, and I think it gave me the wings that I needed, the Superman wings and the strength to move on into the future.
beautiful, beautiful. So your mind was open to more possibilities.
Yes, sir.
So, did you completed university in Nigeria before migrating over here?
Yes.
So, where did you attend university?
So I attended university at Imo State University.
Oh, Futo.
Uh, no, Imo State,
Oh, Imo State.
IMSU,
Sorry,
IMSU,
IMSU. Yes,
IMSU. Yes,
that's the
I
state
attended.
university.
Yes, I attended IMSU. I studied physics there, a bachelor's in physics, and I graduated in 1999.
Any fun experience there that made you decide to? Yeah, give me one fun experience while in university.
Well, in university, studying physics was the studying physics was it didn't come naturally, but I think it was one of those things that your dad is a physicist. My father studied physics, has PhD in physics.
Hmm.
So for all my textbooks, back in you went to school back home now, they will force you to buy handouts and force you if you don't have the textbooks. So so the lecturers will literally go and reproduce a textbook in form of handouts and make you
Yeah.
buy them
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't buy them, in fact, it literally had its own percentage of what needs to be accomplished or what needs to part of total of your total grades for that course.
Yeah.
Buying of the handouts scored about 20% or so, 25%. So if you don't get that 25%, you're already down to a B or going to C. And then if you don't do so well in the exams, you either fail or fail out or something like that. So,
That's
but
true.
yes, sir.
That's
So
true.
so, but I had a problem with that. So the thing about it is that my dad was a physicist and was also teaching in another university close by in the same state. So I had all my textbook. I didn't read, literally, I didn't need to get that, and I always come to class with this physics book called. It was written by a professor called Zemansky.
Hmm.
So I will always, whenever the teacher is teaching, I'll go to the page, but you know he kept on telling me that I needed to buy the handouts because because of the way it wasn't legal for them to do that,
Yeah.
but they kind of forced you because they weren't making a lot of money those days, and
Yeah.
so
So
every day in
yeah.
class I will always
Mm-hmm.
come with that book, and when he says bring out your handout, I bring out my textbook. He started saying stop bringing out that textbook. You need to have your handout. I said no, this is the textbook. It's the same textbook. It's the same author Zemansky that you use and all that. So why should I buy the handout? I have all the textbooks. And he's like, um, uh, nobody's telling no. We know what you're doing. It's part of your destiny to buy it. So from that day, because of the way I always stood up and talked about and carried my book. It was a very large book. Back in the days, those books that I used in school are this big, and you're like carrying stacks of books. So they started calling me Zemansky. I said, I'm not. I stood up. I say, I said, I don't understand how you're teaching from a textbook from this good, good author Zemansky, and you want me to buy slides or pages of reproduced work from you
Yeah.
of the same textbook. It makes no sense, you know. So they started calling me Zemansky, you know,
Zemansky.
and they still call me Zemansky till date.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, man. So you, by the time you arrived to United States, you could have arrived under the names. You could have gone with the name on your passport as Zemansky.
As a man. Oh
Oh
man.
man. That took me back to some experiences that I'm well aware of in those days. I just refer to them as fun times, man. It's
Oh
fun
yes.
times. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
yes.
When did you arrive in the United States?
Came into the United States in December of 2003.
Okay, so you still attended school over here, right?
Oh yes. I went into immediately I came in. Before I left, my dad told me, you know, he sat me down and is like, "Hey son, I've been to the UK. They oversee the European countries and American countries are very beautiful. You're gonna be seeing something totally different. One of the first things you're gonna see is a culture shock. You know, things are not done differently over there. They also, when it comes to women, they also have very beautiful women. Listen, you'll see a lot of people. Don't get distracted over there." And he said, for you to fit in, and it has always been a universal principle that has worked for everybody, is when you get there, work hard, save up money, and go to school. Make sure you go to school. Do not say, "Oh, I have a degree in Nigeria. Why am I don't have time to go to school anymore, blah blah blah." Go back to school, even if it means starting all over again. You can do it. Don't worry about sending money home. Take the next 5 years, improve yourself, and then we can talk from thence on, from anytime you get your degree. So
Mm.
when I arrived there, first thing I did was went to the schools to find out how much the first school I went to was University of Maryland, and I wanted to do my master's in aeronautical engineering, because then I was so much into wanted to do something, get into NASA. My dream was to
Yeah,
be
I
working
remember.
for NASA, you
One
know.
time you
So
telling me about that.
yeah, yes, I wanted to work in NASA. I wanted to go to the moon or something. I wanted to have that experience. So I went to University of Maryland and I asked them how much was it going to cost for me to do the masters. They told me it was about 30,000 then, the 30 or $45,000. And my heart jumped into my stomach. I didn't have $30,000. Jesus. So they said you can get student loan and all that stuff. So I I said loan, and then you know how you come in here, you have all these family members who are your cousins or
Yeah.
nieces, and they'll call you and tell you, "Hey, don't take a loan. To pay back the loan it messes your credit up, blah blah blah." So they put a lot of fear into me not to take loans. So I did. The school was saying, "Oh no, you can take out a loan. We can help you get a student as a loan and a grant for you to go and do the class." I thought about the loan. They thought of the loan thing, was not auguring with me. So
Mm.
I didn't go to school immediately. But the next year, 2004, in the fall semester, I joined University of the District of Columbia because I had a grant from the DC government. I think then they used to pay about $10,000 a year for you to go to school. And then I had a leap. Is it a leap, leap, leap grant from financial aid? They only give it to undergrads. So that's they look at how much you make or how much they give you that grant. It's about 1,000 or 500, sometimes 1,000 or $2,500 then. And so with that, I was able to pay my school fees for the first time, just taking prerequisites while I was wondering what to do. And then from that, I decided, they were telling me, "Oh, do nursing, 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 nursing. Everybody
Oh,
nursing,
yeah.
nursing, 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 nursing." So I didn't, I didn't want to do nursing. I didn't like nursing,
Yeah.
So I don't want to do that. So I decided to do. I wanted to do radiology,
Hmm.
which is X being an X-ray technician and all that, which kind of was in line with what I did in Nigeria, which is physics.
Yeah.
So I was looking for something closely related to physics. So radiology fitted in, and when I got there, I realized I had to wait for another 1 year for me to get into the program. That kicked radiology out of the window so fast. So I
Wow.
was now wondering to either to go to computer science or something in healthcare. That was when I now jumped into respiratory therapy, and they took me and went into the program, and it came naturally. I did literally all I have to do is stay in class, listen to what the lecturer is saying, and I'm good. I go to take the exam, I ace the thing up, you know. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I remember being they tried to put me on the the nursing thing too, and I was like, even in Nigeria, I never, never cared about it,
Nothing.
not nursing. I don't see what it's not now. I'm going to. It's not really for me. There are people who it's meant for, and there are people who can easily adjust to that. But you shouldn't be trying to put everybody in nursing. It's not just like, everybody just can't go into nursing. You shouldn't just. But like, yeah, but people make money there. I said that shouldn't be it. There people can make money in the right path for them. But not
Exactly.
everybody should be in nursing. Not everybody
Exactly.
should be in
Exactly.
nursing. It's not for everybody. And
Yep.
so people just got mad when I said that. I can't. I don't think that's for me. Uh, they were like, "What's wrong with this guy? You know, you just come from Nigeria. You don't want to do nursing. Everybody's doing nursing. Everybody from Nigeria and Ghana is doing nursing." I said,
Exactly.
"Yeah, but I don't think it's for me." And they're, okay, then go to school. All right. But okay. So how do I go to school? Hey, go get a loan. I think you don't want to do nursing. Go and get a loan. Okay, but and then I try to talk to somebody about loan, and they're like, yeah, you just borrow. I'm like, what? I got take all this loan, and I would go overwhelmed with the loan thing, and that's how when I got the military option, I was like, bye.
But exactly.
It's like, man,
Yes, sir.
it's like they just got mad at me for not going with the nursing. It's like, okay, I'm not helping you anymore.
Exactly. That's why they get frustrated, and then they're
like
like, okay,
you're not allowed to have any option. Like you can't have
yep,
any other option. Like why can't you just find out like, hey, okay, if you don't want to do nursing, what else are you good at? What else can you do? What are other parts that are available? Why should everybody just be in one box? Why should everybody fit into squeeze everybody into that box? Everybody must squeeze in there, like trying to squeeze you into. And you had a great background in physics that could fit into so many places. And
yes,
they were
sir.
all trying to squeeze like, oh, well, but everybody's doing nothing, so why can't you do nothing?
Exactly.
like,
Exactly.
like, so nobody could even like, come on. That's why I tell people like, hey, do you want to do nothing? If you want to do nothing, fine, you can go do nothing. But if you don't need nothing, you don't have to.
Yes,
We can
sir.
find something for you, and that's why I tell anyone who shows up now or is new or wants to do it. If you want to, do it. If you don't want to, you don't have to. That's what just tell them. Find what's the path that's right for you. But I have to jump back to something you said though. So you no longer want to go to the moon because there's a chance now.
Yes, I know they were. No, not really. I left that life. I left that life. I left that life a while ago, and so yes,
Ah,
sir.
I just had to bring it up. Like, hey, the opportunity is there now. You might they might take you. There's Space Force too. So
Yes.
yeah, which is a funny show on Netflix, by the way.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, sir.
So, something you had touched on without mentioning. What was your first culture shock when you arrived?
So first culture shock was the food.
Hmm.
The food and the way of life. The way of life was different. The food was different. Encounter with the police. The police here is different from back home. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So, yep, it's that was my first culture shock, really.
Hmm.
That was my first culture.
Yeah, because we both in the same DMV area. So yeah, you arrived in which was it Maryland you arrived to first, or was it Virginia?
Washington D.C.
DC. Okay. So
Yes.
um, do you remember your first American meal that you had?
My first American food was burger. Ate a burger at the McDonald's, and it tasted so good. Tasted so good. Yes.
Let me see. I think mine was Ruby Tuesday, but I don't think it was a burger. I know it was potatoes and something that I had.
Mm-hmm.
I spent like forever looking at the menu. I was like, well, how did what do I order? And my brother was like, "Man, you gonna order or not?" I was like, I don't know. It's like pick something. I was like, which one do I pick? And I'm looking at the price. It's like I'm like, oh, what is all this stuff? I don't know these names. And it's like you like eating potatoes? I was like, yeah, I think so. Like, okay, give him some, well, order something with potatoes and whatever got meat in it, and with some steak and something. And I'm like, okay, I guess.
Sir.
I was like, I don't know what this guy's ordering for me, but all right. I just, I just go with the flow. I just look at like, man, there's so much stuff in this menu. Like, how do you pick? What do I pick from?
Exactly. Exactly.
I was like, I was only Mama Put. I'm used to, you go to Mama Put, you already know what you want to eat. You just go in there.
Exactly.
Now this one, you
Exactly.
get a menu, you go through the whole menu. What's this? What's this? What's this? Like, what? So much
You
choices.
you were literally lost.
Oh man, I was
Yes, sir.
lost. I was lost. It was like, oh, you're terrible. I'm not bringing you here again. Oh. So, before we get into the serious topics, music. What's your favorite music, or do you have a favorite artist?
Well, back in the days, I used to love more of reggae. I loved reggae. I loved things like Bob Marley, Lucky Dube,
Mm.
yeah, and the guy and our maestro that just died, Magic Fashek,
Oh, the
you
legend,
know, Send Down the Rain
the
and all that.
Rainmaker,
So,
Prisoner of
yes, sir.
Conscience.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So those are the
he
kind
died
of
last
music I
week.
liked. Yes.
I didn't know he
Because
was in New York. I would have tried to
yes,
interview him if I had known he was in New York.
yes, he has always been in New York for a long
I
time.
thought I knew last year he was in America, but I thought he came to visit and went back.
No, he came here for a tour and stayed back.
Oh, yeah, I missed
In
my
a long,
opportunity.
being a long time for him. He stayed here, and then he had issues. He was homeless for some time.
Oh my goodness.
Um, but he's good right now.
Yeah, I think after Fela, that's the next greatest musician to have come out from Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
That guy, Majek Fashek. Oh, the magic
Yep.
in him. Oh man,
Mm-hmm.
man, may his soul rest in peace, man. Like just passed away
Yes.
last week.
Yes, sir.
Miss him. Great music, man. Great music.
Yes,
If you
sir.
haven't heard his music, go listen to it on Spotify or anywhere you got streaming. Great music.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. So what about from the current?
Nigerian musics. I just the that's me. I love listening to the Afro hip hop. I like hip hop. I like hip hop here in America too. Current artists that I follow Drake. I follow Jay-Z. My wife loves Jay-Z too. Um, the females I follow Jennifer Lopez. So rap, hip hop, sometimes pop. I love a couple of pop music, and I also like country.
Mm.
We growing up back home,
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
loved country.
Yeah.
One of our exposure to American music when we were
Was
back home
country.
was country music. We
I
listened
was
to a lot
telling
of country
one
music.
of my guests a few episodes ago that we grew up on country. She was surprised
Yes,
that
country
Nigerians
music.
that they play country music.
Loved
I say,
all of
yeah,
them. Dolly Parton, name it,
Dolly
name it.
Parton, Kenny Rogers. Oh,
Yes,
they
we
were
listened to
huge.
those, and we loved it. And most of their music came on Christmas time, so
Oh boy.
it puts you right. That those music puts you right into the Christmas mood. Yes, sir.
I even forgot about that part of it, but yeah, I forgot
Yep,
about the Christmas
yep.
side of country music.
Yes, sir.
Uh, oh man. So what about food?
Oh, food. I love my fufu, man. I love my fufu with okra soup, obono soup, egusi soup, vegetable soup, edikaikon,
Mm, mm.
I love
I'm
my.
going to cook bitter leaf today with a
You're
goosey.
gonna go, but there you go. That's my burst too. Bitter leaf soup is awesome. I love my rice. I love my salads. I love my lasagna. You know,
Yeah, you're
that's
everywhere. Are you a
that's
cook?
me.
Are you a
Yes, sir.
chef?
I cook. Yes, I
Mm,
cook. I
okay.
got cook. I cook better than you, bro.
How you know you cook better than me? How you know? Do you want us to set this episode aside and start cooking right
Yeah, we
now?
can do a cook. We can do a cook off, man. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Now let's dive into something very important that that made me want to do this episode. So while we were talking a while back, you brought up something that is very it's a very big thing, not only in our community, because after we talked and before I decided we should record today, I actually did a survey. So I hit up a bunch of people in my contact. I hit up over 30 people and realized that only two people responded that they had a will. And when we had talked, you had mentioned how most of us take for granted our legal documents, having legal documents, preparing for the future, securing our family's future, and you had even when we were talking, you were looking at it more from talking to our parents about securing their family's future because of experiences that we are well aware of back home. When one of the parents passes away, how we approach death, and then I started thinking, like, wait a minute, this is not only something that that is just about our parents. It's also about us, the younger ones. People who we are young, but so we also have this air of invisibility based on the way most of us are raised culturally. So when I did the survey, I did not just ask only Nigerian immigrants. I asked Ghanaians. I asked even a German. I asked a few German immigrants. I asked Caribbean. I just made it broad and asked, people born here in America. And the only two people who had a will were uh, um, um, were Nigerian immigrants. Funny enough, nobody else. They were like, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about it. Oh yes, I'm going to do something about it." And I was like, "Wow, that makes this episode extra important for us to talk about um, um, your founding of Legal Shield and why it's important. We are legalshield.com. Nwachukwu.wearelegalshield.com, and how to have this conversation around that. So, how do you go about the difficulty of talking to? So the question is twofold. One, how do you go about having this going past the difficulty of talking to your parents about the need to have a will and taking care of legal documents, and then two, how do you, as a person or like myself or someone younger than myself, why do you need to have a will or your legal documents in place in case of anything?
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to say, you know, just wanted to say if just off the top, I didn't find, it wasn't me that found Lego Shield. Lego Shield is a huge organization. It's been around for, if I am not mistaken, over 100 and over 50 years or more than that.
Okay.
I am not even up to 50 years old. So
Yeah.
I am an associate. I am an independent business owner at Lego Shield. So like I sent you my link.
Yeah. I'll have that in the
It's
show notes.
yes, in the notes. So people can go on there and sign up to get Lego Shield program, like a Lego sort of a Lego insurance. It helps you. It's a sure way of protecting yourself against little things that we kind of take for granted, like uh, um, when the police pulls you over and walks up to you and says, "Hey, uh, you know, who are you? Do you know why I pulled you over?" Something like that. Say, "Hey, please, I can I call my lawyer? Can you talk to my lawyer?" Or maybe the police pulls you over, you put your lawyer on a speed dial and said, "Hey, I just got pulled over by a police. I need you to talk to him," and put him on a speaker. And the police, and they said, "I'm so person. I'm his lawyer. Can I talk to?" So immediately diffusing such little things are things that we need to make sure that everybody is is talking about and knows how to
Have at their disposal. Yeah.
protect themselves and guide themselves. So
Yeah.
LegoZoom is a very affordable means to create Lego documents such as your wills, ND, non-disclosure, NDR as non-disclosure um, documents, medical and other powers of attorney, and many more. Products are tailored to each US state so as to address state-specific Lego verbiage and requirements. Documents usually require notary witness or signature. So basically, you're protecting yourself and you're also being schooled by lawyers. I'm not talking about fresh lawyers out of school. I'm talking about big law firms, very big law firms. Now, to why we need to have Lego Shield. We can't predict when we die, and we cannot predict what happens after we die. We don't know what happens after we die. We're dead, we're gone. Okay. We have a family. For somebody who has a family, kids, and someone who has siblings and parents to look after, you have to prepare yourself for the afterlife. And there is no way everybody in your family is going to die when you die.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's going to die. You die, and people have their own times to die. So that's why it's good for you to prepare a will. Prepare a will. A will is not a final document. Most of the times, I think one of the things that makes our people scared is that when they prepare their will, they think it's a final document. It's not a final document. You can always update your will as time goes on. So let's say, but the time if you do your will today, your will will state maybe you have $1 million in assets. You're gonna do your will based on your $1 million assets. Let's say
Okay.
in 10 years time or in 5 years time you're still alive, and your $1 million assets becomes $5 million assets. You have to redo your will to accommodate those $5 million assets. And then you acquire some things more. You have to redo your will to incorporate those things. So it's always a continuous process. The good thing about having Lego Shield is that as much as it's continuous, you're not paying a lawyer for them to update that for you. So
Oh,
they
so
literally
you
you
can
have
update it on so you're
yeah
doing it
they
on your
up
own.
no. Your lawyer is doing
Oh, so
it,
your
but
lawyer's
you're not
updating. Okay.
paying them.
Oh,
You're not
okay.
paying. You only pay your 24. Let's say it's 24.95 premium every month.
Yeah.
Just like paying for your health care, just like paying for your car insurance.
Your cable.
Any other insurance you pay, you're paying for that. But when those kind of things come up, they update it for you. So you
Oh,
want to
okay.
go and see, you have a case, a traffic case. They give you a lawyer. They don't charge you any extra fee. The lawyer goes there and asks you, hey, do you want to go? Do you want to litigate this, or you just want to plead and we can get this thing off for you? Pretty much, you say, "Oh, I want to litigate it." They will go there and make sure that it doesn't go that far. They always have a way. Just for example, when I signed up, I came into this country in 2003,
Yep.
and then in 2004 I had Lego Shield, and in that 2004, um, my first my first traffic, the first ever traffic ticket I got off of 895. 895 when you lived in the DMV area.
Yeah.
895. I was coming back, and just right before the toll, this police officer pulls me over. He's a rookie police officer anyway. He pulls me over, and he asked me, "Have you been drinking?" I said, "I just came from a friend's house. I just had 2 bottles of beer, but it's 2 bottles of little Heineken. I'm not drunk." He brings me out, makes me do all this eye thing, and try to test if I was drunk. Found out that I wasn't drunk, and he said, "You know what? You passed, but I'm not gonna let you off like that. You were speeding." I said, "Sir, I did not. I wasn't speeding. This is right.
Wow.
This is toll. This is the toll. I can't." So he said, I didn't want to argue with him. He gave me a ticket. I called my lawyer immediately. My lawyer, they gave me a lady, and she went with me to the court date. On that day, she asked the police one question, because for with the thing that they use in measuring your speed, they are supposed to, by state, I think in the state of Maryland, to recalibrate it every month. So
Yep.
the calibration, the stuff that they do on it, some sort of maintenance, they always have a record of. Do you have a record to show that he was speeding while you gave him a ticket? He didn't have it. And because he didn't have it, if you see how fast the judge threw out the case, it was so fast. And I had my abada on that day, my traditional African coat. So I was just going like, so so this is how it helps you. There is no it's not a harmful thing for you to own, as much as you daily hold your health insurance, to have a legal insurance. Imagine a landlord. um, you live in an apartment, you don't have your own house, and something spoils in your house, and you write to the landlord, and it takes him about 6 weeks to come and fix something broken in your house. Meanwhile, in the agreement that you signed with them, it says that you call your lawyer, they'll tell you, send me your agreement. They'll send in the agreement. In such a case, your lawyer gets the agreement. Your lawyer will either write or call your landlord and tell them that on the lease agreement, it states that this thing will need to be done on so time and immediately, or however it is the verbiage is.
Yep.
And guess what? The when your landlord hears from your lawyer, it's different from him or she hearing from you. They will come on that stuff and do it real quick. People don't understand the powers of lawyers, attorneys that we have, and it's a yearly. If you're the 24.95, if you do the math, you're about call it $300 a year on health insurance, on legal insurance, that will do a lot of things for you,
Mm-hmm.
that you might end up spending over $7,000 or $10,000 to achieve if you were to go on yourself, or to probably get a pro bono. And pro bono, remember, pro bono cannot do a lot of things for you.
That sounds powerful right there. Really powerful. So, but you skipped something though.
Yes, sir.
While you talked about you talked about the very important side of the affordable, which is very important, and thank you for addressing that. You skipped the part about making sure our the talk about letting our parents
Oh,
understand
yes.
the
Oh,
need
yes.
for these documents to be in place. How do we
Exactly.
address that?
So, me and you, we come from a country where these things are foreign to us, very alien in the African and diaspora immigrant communities.
Yeah.
Most immigrant communities, if you do your research, they think and they behave the way we behave in Nigeria.
True.
When you go to your parent now and tell them, "Hey, do you need a will?" Guess what? The first question they will ask you: Are you planning to kill me?
Yeah. That's
You know what I
one
mean?
actually one person said that to me when I asked them about the weird.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
It was a
It
young
seems like you're
someone
planning
about
to
around
kill me.
our
No,
age.
is yeah. They said no. I don't want to do it. No. Now, guess as much as we understand, um, um, for trying to find a way, an approach to talk to them about, writing a will, you come with an example of someone who is close to them or someone who is in the news or something that they had children, um, but their children was not in the states when he died, and none of them had a social security, and because he didn't have any direct this in the state administered their took over their
The property.
properties, their
Yeah.
money, everything. Now, unless any of his child that is in overseas, that is outside of the country, travels to the states and starts investigating to know if the dad had anything or any properties, and to figure out a way of trying to get a hold at it, that is a lost cause. So that is why it's always good to have a will. Now, how do we navigate this terrain? It might need you to constantly talk about it. It might need you to make sure that when you have that common time, you're talking on your watching TV together, you find something that will talk about the whale thing, so that they understand it. You might probably have to talk to your pastor. Remember, our people are very religious.
Yeah.
Going through a pastor or something like, say, please talk to my parent. They need to understand the need for a will. Now, also, we also come from a culture where it is assumed that the first child becomes the overall controller of the estate.
Oh
So, but
yes.
in America, that's not the same way it is done. But assuming that you have a father who had so much assets overseas, as in your country, in our country, like in Nigeria, and moved over to the United States and had some other properties or investments here. Guess what's going to happen? The ones in America is going to be divided amongst the children that is listed, that he has here, even if he didn't have a will, but he had a nest of kin. But the one in Nigeria automatically goes to the first
To
child.
the first
He
child. Yeah.
controls it, and then until your village people calls a meeting, and then they now decide to share whatever it is based on that. He controls it as long as he wants, and they cannot share it unless he says yes.
That's true. Um, I,
Exactly. So
I've
you see
I've
what I'm
seen
saying?
that. I've seen that happen in real
Yes. And
life. So
and guess what the problem is? If he continues to hold on to that thing and dies, his son
we'll take
takes over
over,
that same thing,
and
and then
then
you guys are fighting against your brother's son. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So
So it's
so it's always, that thing is good for them to have that
mm-hmm,
will.
mm-hmm.
No matter what, the problem of not having the will is bigger
Okay.
than the so-called problem they are thinking, for not having it. So I mean, not agreeing to write it. So you might use your just like I said, we need to use uh, we need to use religious leaders. We need to use brothers and sisters. We need to do, it will take a lot of work for us to, but we did need to understand that a family without a man without a will, or a woman without a will, in this day and age, is not only a disaster. It's not only cooking up a disaster for the family in the nearest future, but it's might end up a united family might end up being torn apart because of an unwritten will.
Mm, that's a good way to that's a good way to say it. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, united because that's true. The example that I witnessed in real time, it tore the family apart like completely forever. That family was never coming back together because the man passed away how many decades ago, and the wife of the with the oldest son took all the properties, and then later on they were like, oh, he had another son who's technically the oldest, and then this fight began, that fight began, and it's like, whoa, 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 whoa. If there was a
Another,
will saying this one gets, because he had houses everywhere, there was properties everywhere. It could have easily have been shared out, but no, it's like now one person wanted to take everything and say, I'll hold on to everything, and
exactly.
and
And then one more is too that our parents back home, they believe they have this. There's this culture in not all of them though,
mm-hmm.
but a majority of the men in Africa, in my tribe, Igbo, they believe that whenever your wife knows everything you have, you become nothing to them. So they have accounts, they have stuff like bank accounts that are, and then also when your wife knows how much you have in the bank account, she will not rest until that money is liquidated. So they have that mentality. So that's why most of them open up accounts that their wife does not know about. And when they die, guess what happens to those accounts? That money is gone because it's not written in a will anywhere. It's not written. I have an uncle who is worth more than, let me just not be too, who is worth close to a billion naira in Nigeria. Okay. But when he died. They know this. Everybody knows this. He always talks about it. He paid for something a couple of months before he died, about 220 million naira. Cash money. No loan, no nothing. His personal money. But when he died, guess how much they could find? The only bank account they could find had 150,000, and that was his.
Wow.
That account was possible because that's the account he uses for his flimsy, from his personal groove and all that stuff. The major accounts that he has, they're still looking for his accounts up to today.
Oh no! Wow. Right.
So imagine if he had in one account 200 million naira or 400 million naira. That is the bank one of the bank managers will one day be siphoning that money because nobody's claiming it for after. Yeah.
That's the thing they don't think about. Like at the end of the day, it's still your family that suffers the most.
Exactly. The money you made, you just threw out there. Your family does not even have money to feed. Your children are in school; they can't pay their school fees. But you have over a billion naira in one account. But because you did not have a will, because nobody knew about it, it's gone.
Wow.
It's gone.
I didn't even think about it from that point of view until you just
exactly. Or maybe a son he has that is very close to him has an inkling about it and decides to, because nobody else knows about it,
so
he decides to
keep
give
it
the
for
money to himself.
Wow.
There you go. It's not in the will.
Ooh, that is,
it happens.
That's an eye
These are not alien stories. These are things that happen in our community, and people just don't understand this. Part of the thing that as I said, I'm an independent owner and an independent insurance person with Lego Shield. Part of the sign up is also giving people opportunity to become independent owners, where they can also help. Because you can buy and protect yourself and talk to someone to go and buy. But if you also say, hey, you can buy from me, this is this thing, and go on this site, buy, they can also do that.
Oh, so others
sign
can
up
become
as an associate.
owners, associates too. Oh, okay, good.
Sign up as an associate using my link, the link that I just showed you.
All right.
Sign up as an associate. They're on there. They're helping their communities. Listen, when you run a statistics of people who own whales or who have some sort of legal protection, you will find out that when it comes to the immigrant community, let me not say the black community, but let me say the immigrant community, you'll find out that it is not up to 10%. It is not up to 10% of people who own a whale or who have some sort of legal protection.
Yeah, it was less than 10% from the brief survey that I did. So
you see what I'm saying? Yes.
All right. I would have loved to talk more about this, but we'll just have to start. It's just wow, it's mind blowing. This even with the survey, I didn't even think it was still this crazy. But the examples you've brought is just wow. It's just wow. Well, yeah. So I know you still you also involved in um, Volkman Express.
Yes, that's my
So
company.
that's your
Yes.
company.
Right.
You founded
Yes.
that, right?
Yes.
And what made you go into that field?
So again, I always put it back to before I came into America. Before I traveled out of America. So I had a plan for myself. I laid out a project plan for myself and I laid out tasks. So one of the tasks, the first task is to get into school, graduate and get a good job. The second task is to buy me a house, um, buy a house and get married and then complete my PhD, and then the final thing is to get me a start my PhD, not complete, start my PhD, and then start up a company. So this was it was a 5-year plan for me. So the 5-year plan was get into school. I knew I can transfer my degree. So if I transfer my degree to get another bachelor's here would take me just 1 year. So that was it. Get that bachelor's degree, get a job, which I did get a job, worked so hard. I bought the house, got married. I started cutting my wife. We got married. We bought our house, and that was task accomplished. And then I set up my company. Actually, before I bought my house, I set up the company. The company was supposed to be my last thing to set up, but I set up the company in 2008 in Delaware. And then in 2012, I brought it to Maryland. So Volkman Express was originally started as a logistics company. We got certified under the Federal Maritime Commission as a non-vessel operating common carriers, and then under the TSA, Transport Security Administration, as an IAC, indirect air carrier. We also got licensed and bonded through the FMCSA, Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, under the DOT, to have a motor carrier license and a DOT license. That was when I bought the trucks that I used to do delivery for 53 foot trailers that we hauled for Amazon from Pennsylvania, Carlisle in Pennsylvania to Chesapeake in Virginia. Their facilities over there. So we used to pick up loaded trailers and we take them to Virginia. And some other contracts I had with Safeway, and some other companies in Pennsylvania and Delaware. um, Volkman Express grew from that into building a platform that we wanted to use to Uberize delivery, trucking, mail delivery.
Hmm.
We wanted to. I built an app. The app is on Android. It's called VEIP. So VEIP is an app that's supposed to help you track your delivery. So let's say you buy something from Amazon and it's shipped to us, and we ship it to you anywhere you are in the world. When it gets to our location, if we have a location there, when it gets to our location and our drivers pick it up for delivery, when the drivers scan it into their truck, you can follow the truck and see where the truck is going, when the truck will get to your house, how many minutes it will get to your house, and stuff like that. We didn't Funding and stuff as at that time didn't help us push this forward. So, but we still have the app. We're still reworking. Right now, we're reworking on it, and we're trying to get it out there for people to help them with trucking, and also not only for delivery trucks, but also for huge trucks. So if someone needs to get it for companies that brokers that need to give it a job for you to go and carry a satellite from Virginia and deliver it to New Jersey,
Yeah.
they can see that they don't need to log into the to the operator's tracker. They
Okay.
can track it through the system,
Yeah.
and they can see where it is. If the person is stopping and staying somewhere for too long, they can see it. So they can also use this to develop policies to help them in making sure that their business is run the way it's supposed to run. If you have a problem, they can easily call you. Hey, you're staying over 20 minutes at this place. What's going on? Is it a gas station? What's happening? Are you okay? Because everything will be timed. So if you're telling your clients, hey, I'm going to deliver your truck or your product in 20 minutes or in 3 hours, you'll be there in 3 hours.
Right.
Unless there's traffic. Only you're reporting real time. The system reports real time. You type in traffic, that it will ask you why the delay. Traffic. It will send a message to the customer, and the customer will know there's traffic on this thing. They can verify it, and everything will be. So we had that plan. But Volkman Express has also, from that time, has grown into a purely business consulting and service company right now. So we're adding cybersecurity to it. As much as we're trying to develop apps, we also need a cybersecurity unit to help make sure that our apps are seal-proof.
Okay.
And I mean, you can never be as protected as ever in the cybersecurity world. Some person one day, if not one of your employees, will try to mess your system up. So, but at least you need to have watchful eyes on what you're doing, so that everybody that is using your system or your applications as safeguarded into. So Volkman Express have metamorphosed from a mere logistics industry to something bigger. Oh, I forgot. We're licensed in Maryland as wholesale auto dealers, and we buy cars and ship for so many of our customers out of the United States.
Wow. So you're evolving. You keep
Yes, sir.
evolving, and
Yes, sir.
that's a good sign. So, second to the final question, what is
Yes,
the
sir.
way forward in a COVID-19 world? The
Yeah,
aftermath.
so I'm actually I put in a documentation with Booz Allen. They have an innovation. Anybody that's into innovation or just likes creating something new, who loves solving problems, you will always find these grants out there from the government, from NIH to companies like Booz Allen, NASA, and all that. They always have grants. So I'm trying to put together a software and a policy. So it's software policy driven product that will help companies, not only multinationals or big companies, but also small businesses, to go back to work safely. So how do they go back to work? Not all services might need to be in your office space. Some of them might perpetually be on remote forever. Why am I saying this? If for any forward thinking business owner or CEO or president that owns a uh, a small business or runs a small business, you would have been taking metrics during for the past few months of lockdown. You should have been looking at, is our productivity increasing, decreasing, or staying the same? Who is giving us more? Are we losing funding of finance? Our financial, is our money increasing? Is our financial base increasing? Is it decreasing? Is it staying the same? So these things can give you a better insight into what needs to be done or moving forward. If you had problems of huge expenses or huge running costs for your business, this is the time for you to get some cuts if you're getting the same amount of productivity while you had people in a particular site. Now, how do we protect our real estate? Because guess what? If everybody else is working at home, most companies will get away from their lease, and guess who suffers? The person that owns the huge deficit, the huge building,
Yeah, the properties.
huge
Yeah.
property. So how do we help make sure that our properties are not the real estate is not collapsing when it comes to commercial property. The owners will also have a way of trying to make the office space more um, more not isolated, because what makes an office environment is the ability for people to say, hey man, are you having what, man, you have a good club right there, man. Hey, do you want to eat something? Let's go eat something downstairs. So we still have that environment where people communicate,
Yeah,
and where
it's
people say, oh,
socially
body,
welcoming too.
yeah,
Yeah.
socially welcoming, body up and all that. But how do they make it that without the risk of a pandemic that is airborne, by infecting everybody in an enclosed space? Um, for each office to maybe probably employ negative air, where nothing goes out, everything goes through the vents to the outside, or employing things like that, putting in smart technology or smart softwares that could detect certain things. I mean, this could be done by the renter, the people that are renting the space, that the company, but at least the venting system. So when you have a cubicle, that the air is not going back into the
Is
larger
it?
space,
Yeah.
but it's being taken out of the that particular enclosed space, from the rest of the person. So if somebody who likes to fart every time when they're in the office, they can fart as much as they can, but it's going out the other way. It's
Hey,
going out the other way. Yes,
I
sir.
welcome that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want
Save the people's nose.
exactly save people's nose and stuff like that. So, so there's a lot of things that I could talk about it, but these are the ways. Moving forward with COVID, are we done with pandemics? No, no,
No,
no. We're gonna
no,
have worse ones.
yeah,
We're gonna have worse ones coming.
that's true.
So this is COVID has come. It has shown us that it is not a the worst. The worst is coming after him,
True.
after this pandemic, and we're gonna have another worst guy coming, and just like that. And we need to start understanding that, um, if we don't study the um, infection routes, the life pattern of these viruses or these organisms, how it has affected the world overall, economically, socially, mentally, psychologically, and we are not putting things in place to prevent worse enemies of the world coming in the future. And also for world peace, it's time for world peace. People need to stop being, hey, we want to come and help you solve your poverty problem, but you know what, you're going to give us all your oil for 30 years. No, if you want to come and help me solve my poverty problem, come and help me solve my poverty problem. We can talk about a business to know how we can mutually benefit from something else. But if you're coming to help me with my poverty problem, help me with my poverty problem, no strings attached. And create this, so that other people can, if you truly say or come on the news and tell people that you're helping them, you help them. And not always
Be a
putting,
genuine helper,
yes, not one hand in the back and you're
yeah.
shaking the person with one hand in front and you have one hand in the back with an axe or a hammer, and then things just keep going round and round the same way. Nobody wants to be truly involved in anything that will help every single one of us, even your own children and citizens.
Yeah. All right. I think that would be a good place to end. And I always last question I always ask every guest is an advice you like to leave the audience with. So it could be a quote or um, a mantra that you live by, or a quote from a book that you've read, or just a favorite saying that you go by. So something you want to leave the audience with.
Yes, sir. I would like to tell everybody that we have a brain that is bigger than the universe,
Mm,
and we are only using less than 5% of our brain capacity. People get fatigued easily. because they allow themselves to get fatigued easily. You can do a billion things with the 12-hour allotted times during our active times every day, and you can be prosperous by researching about things, learning about things, and talking from a perspective where you know something. It is not a bad thing to always try something new, but know that your brain capacity is bigger than any universe out there, and you can use it to help and help yourself and also help this world become where we truly want to live in. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Uzoma. It's been a pleasure. When things calm down, I'll come down to Maryland and try this cooking that you've challenged me to.
Oh yes, oh
Um,
yes.
um,
I have the
if
gizzard,
if if I
the
feel
pepper
really
soup.
good, I might cook. But I don't think I want to come over and cook for you. But yeah, I'll cook. If I cook for you now, you might be tempted to move in with me. So
The
I'm
mo-
I'm too good. I'm too good.
Hey,
But
tell everybody to visit you.
yeah, I was gonna give you the plug-in opportunity. So yeah, go
Yes,
ahead, plug in.
yeah, they should visit you as UNWACHUKWU dot wearelegalshield.com and sign up and get to know who your lawyer is, get your will on the way, and protect yourself. Sign up to become an associate. Sign up so that you can sign up other people in your neighborhood, in your communities, in your group, in your family. Hey, a lawyer besides you is the law besides you. So please visit that site. You can share. You can go on his podcast page. You will see it there. Please sign it up. If you have any question, you contact me through there via email, and I will respond almost immediately.
All
Thank you so
right.
much,
So you
Raf.
want me to share your email, or do you want them to contact you on
Share the
LinkedIn, or how do you want them to contact you?
Yes, you can share my LinkedIn, but you can
All
also
right.
share the site that I posted on the chat.
Yeah,
The
yeah. The
you
site will go
Nwachukwu.
with the podcast.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank
Thank
you
you.
again for gracing us with your presence on this episode, and thank you everyone for joining us. And we shall see you at the next episode. Please don't forget to like, share, and keep sending the love. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.